the wall. The whole.
Oh, because earlier I was trying to see if I could fit through. Like, just through the wall and thing. That's how it started. Okay, listen, I got here a little early. We were all hanging out and talking about last night's stuff. And then I heard some noise and I was like, oh, what's happening in this and this? And I was like, oh, I wonder if I could fit. And if it wasn't for that whole thing, I could. And I thought, oh, that'd be so fun if I snuck in there. And then like the panel started, I could be like, you hold on! And you wouldn't know where I was. I couldn't fit. But then because it like had already started in my brain, I then turned around and I looked under the table and I was like, oh. And so I kind of, it all happened very organically.
I was close. I just didn't look like
I know.
below.
I know, because you literally, I can see, it's a little bit thin, so I can kind of see out shapes, and you were like, unless she's under here. No. And you went away, but like, you're
Did you think you were caught? Did you think?
No, I was like, oh, if she looks up, I was like ready. But then you walked away, and I was like, all right. And I was like, I guess I'll sit here.
I'm glad I didn't do that because I probably would have beat my pants.
Got this snapshot, not just of your face, Carrie, of you on the ground.
It was frightening. It was very akin to like Senkets when he's just kind of like.
Yeah.
You were just Senkets popping out for me. So I was like.
Oh, wow. I think that was worth the whole panel.
12 minutes, well worth it, you know?
I was like, I really hope they're not tardy. We haven't been here in a while. Yes, sir.
Carrie, can I please have some of whatever drugs you're on?
Well, every time we've made a drug reference.
That's all organic.
Yeah, make sure you stay hydrated. No, I have to coffee.
No?
Stay hydrated, everyone. Water's important. Let's start the meal.
I just wish it was over already.
I'm awake now, yes.
My God.
We
Okay.
got so much better than I could have even hoped.
All right. Well, I'm sure you guys all got acquainted with Carrie already. We got a little too acquainted with her at that point too. But hi, I am. This is the Kill a Kill panel, as I'm sure you guys know. I'm Erica Mendez, and I do the voice of Ryuko.
Yeah, I'm David Vincent, and I do the voice of Suncats.
Before, but this was like pretty soon after I first met you, and I don't think I knew quite how crazy you were at Otakon.
It's hard to get right at first.
But during some of the sessions, I would see you like go slowly insane, and she'd like sit on the floor and like rock back and forth. And it's like
I was stretching.
This is who plays Satsuki? She couldn't be any further.
No, I felt the same way, actually. After my second session, I texted him. I was like, everyone gets fired at least. I know it happens. This will be my first time. It's okay. Like, I thought I was going to get fired. When I got the call back for it, I was like, really? And then I thought I was going to get fired the first 3 sessions, but they kept me. But yeah, I do. I go slowly insane in the booth. It's just you get like locked in, you're like stuck in this room.
I think we were talking about like, because we took such long breaks between, you know, when we would record a line and then when the director and the client, the producer would like start arguing about like whatever they were arguing about.
Mommy and Dad, you're fighting again.
Yes. I think at one point when I was watching the session, you asked for crayons, I feel like. I was like, I just need to color something. I just need to like do something with my time right now.
That sounds like me. I actually, when I was doing Tekken, you were Tekken too, right?
Yeah.
When I was
Tekken.
Ling Xiaoyu.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh, okay.
So that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But the Japanese clients were there, and I'd worked with Christy Reed, the director, before, and I
so I got in, she was like, okay, the Japanese clients are here today, Carrie. And she like gave me, I was like, all right, I'm gonna behave myself, I'm gonna behave myself. And I made it 12 and a half hours of recording into that project before I started to lose my mind. But that was like 2.5 sessions. 2.5 sessions.
Wow, that's impressive. I got a funny Tekken story.
Yeah.
This was not the Tekken, this is the 7 that you worked on? Or is this
The movie.
the movie, yes, that's right. Tekken was
Blood Vengeance.
Blood Vengeance, yes. I did Shin Miya.
Yeah.
But this is a funny story, and I know maybe a couple of you have heard this, but this is just funny about losing it in working on Tekken. I was working on Tekken 6, I think, the video game, not the movie. But I was in the booth, and I was a huge, I play martial law. And martial law is based loosely on Bruce Lee, who Bruce Lee is one of my all-time idols growing up. And so we were in the booth, and I was like, for the first time in ages, I was actually kind of nervous, because I was like, oh my God. I love this character, you know, and there's all these Japanese producers had flown over from Tokyo, and so we were recording, this is before Company had gone to their new studio, they were still accountants, and Danny is the engineer, and she looks at me and she goes, okay, David, are you ready? And I was like, yes. She goes, we're rolling. And I busted out my first, what? And all of a sudden the Japanese producers stop and they look at each other, they're going, oh. Oh yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my God, I'm fired. And Danny presses the button, and the Japanese producer looks at me and goes, oh, you do best Bruce Lee for white man.
I play Kenya, who's like the serious kid of the group, and he's very like, you know, deadpan, like tells it how it is, and like he's kind of like the detective.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I'm like slowly going crazy playing that character because I don't have that outlet, you know, like I had with Ryuko.
And you have to
Or
keep
like,
your energy up. So
Yeah.
if you're playing a very serious character and you just stay in that tone, you'll just eventually start to get like,
Yeah.
you'll start to sound tired.
Yeah. They had asked me if I had too much caffeine, and I was like, no, I haven't had any. I'm just
You've
like,
been hanging with
going
Carrie.
crazy. Yeah.
Stop hanging out. Everyone stop hanging out with Carrie.
Especially you guys. Bad influence. Trust me, I know.
Anyways, this is intellectual couch.
Yes. No, we don't. We digress.
You
Has
guys,
anyone seen the show?
Sit up now.
so if you guys have any questions at
Has
any
anyone not
point,
seen the show? Your friend dragged you here? Yeah, okay, yeah. I knew there was something.
I dragged her here.
Yeah.
She's
And
here
then
to
won't admit it. She's like, I dragged you here! Tell her! Tell her!
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
Now you have to. Now you have to see what this is all about. Yes, sir.
Have you ever cosplayed your own characters?
Yes! Yeah, I actually, this is a little bit more into my psyche. The Japanese Satsuki was at AX in 2014, and I wasn't able to be there that year. And she showed up in a schoolgirl outfit and did the Theater's Freedom speech.
Yeah, both of them were dressed up.
So I missed that. And then by the time we were doing AX, it was actually like, it had already aired, almost wrapping up on Tsunami, or already wrapped up.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, we knew it was going to be the last time we were all going to be together for the show. And it was the whole, like we were getting almost the entire cast there, so it was going to be a big thing. So I got it in my head that because she did that speech, then like if she did like schoolgirl,
You had to one-up her.
It's not like one, it's more like a yes and. It's more like a yes and. You know about
I
yes.
know, yes,
because we had cosplayer escorts that were dressed up as our characters, or just like some of the other characters. Like we had like 4 Makos or something like that, and they all brought Patrick up. But your Satsuki escort was dressed in the same outfit, and I'm just like, awkward. One of them's gonna have to change.
When you show up to a party and you're both wearing the same dress.
Yeah. But I still wish you would have told me, because I've actually cosplayed as Ryoko. Nobody told me. I had no idea.
I think they were in denial that I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
But then I show up, and I'm like, I'm walking in with a bag, and like June Cat is sticking out. And apparently Patrick Sykes, who plays Gamagori, was driving by to get in their parking, and he texted me, he's like, are you carrying June Cats in your bag? And I was like, maybe. And I show up, I don't change like all the way backstage, so I'm like changing, and as soon as I put the gloves on, I can't do anything. So then Christine, who plays Mako, is like dressing me the rest of the way. I'm like, members are like, they're all like, no one else knew about it. I guess I can talk about it so long if I was here. So they're like, all like, what is happening? So Hiroe comes over, our producer, who's been like the whole time like, oh, Carrie, you know. She's like, oh, you've been working out.
I'm sure she was joking with me, but like the whole time before that, she was like, "Oh, you should cosplay as Ryuko," but in like the transformed outfit, and I was like, So I'm glad you did it. So then she left me alone.
I feel like the way I did it, I was a little more.
It was very, it was
I
modest.
did a PG-13
Yeah.
version.
Yeah.
I also remember freezing all that. So yes, answer, yes.
Awesome.
I did it at I dressed up as ending credits episode for the last episode, Ryuko. So it's, you know, the red scarf, and then because I bought the varsity jacket like immediately after getting cast, because I love that jacket so much. It's so cool with the skull on the back and whatever. And then it's just like pants, and then the crazy white shoes that she wears, and then I did the wig and stuff. No, I don't have to, but you know. No, I probably should have to do the wig, because hers is like, her streak is like that weird.
Yeah, it goes like whoosh.
Like she's doing it right.
Yes.
But yeah.
David won't even do Mr. Clean. Like, don't ask this guy. Alright. And also, I feel like we, as if you know already, we keep our panel pretty informal.
Yeah.
So if you have to feel like, oh, I have a question, you can just be like, oh, I love the part. Like, just, you know, we all at the show, so we're here.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like pressure, like, I have to come up with a good question. You can be like, oh my god, I love this episode, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, what she said.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking right at me.
How would you, like, not only physically but mentally manage your character? This was like Carrie, which is the polar opposite from her counterpart. How do you do that?
It was interesting watching you get into it, because you had like a specific, like I have a stance for all my characters, but your stance I think was particularly interesting. The way you kind of like held yourself.
Yeah, and I think that like that's sort of already a little bit the answer. That there is, I usually have like a body and a line.
Yeah.
They'll give you
A reference.
thank you. Like help explain the concept again. They'll have references that they'll play for you at the beginning of every session to get in a voice and match and make sure everything's sounding the same. And it's always the same reference lines. And usually one of those ends up being like the line that helps you.
Yeah,
That
that
helps
helps
me.
you get with
Or if it's not, once I do all the reference lines, I then do the one that helps me. But it's always a line and a body, because it's where they live in a physical place, and then they also like, in terms of like how the sound is going to happen, how they're going to sound like that character, and then they live in a line in terms of like a mental place of like knowing their core value.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and often, and just to capitalize on that, or
Yeah,
whatever,
capitalize.
punctuate, whatever.
Do anything.
I'll just do
Yeah.
anything with this.
Take it.
But oftentimes, like for instance, and what we'll do is we'll do a what's called a lead-in, and that if they don't have a reference, and I'm doing, like say for instance, particular accents that I'm having a difficult time doing, this isn't necessarily skill specific, but if I'm doing a particular accent, what I'll do is I will lead myself in with that accent by saying something that I know that I can say that accent well, so that I get into that accent and that zone in your head to go into that character or that accent or whatever it is that you're doing.
Oh my gosh, I have a funny story about that actually. Now that you say that, specifically with an accent, I do
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and so at
Mine was the stealing half-eaten lemons from people. Nice manners, kid. You that desperate to swap spit with chicks.
That's funny.
I mean, they're all from the beginning.
Yeah,
From the very beginning,
That was
the
the
very
first
first
episode.
episode, as a matter of fact, and it was the one where he's talking about Dad, Montoy, and he's listing off like the, who's a man, who's a beard, I can't remember what it was that he said, but I had to repeat that about 1,000 times.
Oh, take my blood, Junekets. It is the eternal vow between you and I.
But I remember when I watched you, like, about the body thing, I think you were like, because I think you had to explain it to Kinoe once, because she was, like, really impressed by it, it's like something about, like, straightening up your solar plexus or something. You just become really rigid when you play Satsuki. And it just, it's a total transformation. Yeah.
Okay, so real story. I was super struggling with this character. We all know I thought I was gonna get fired. I called up Michael Cinder Nicholas. Michael Cinder Nicholas, anyone? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Venture Brothers, everything under the sun. Some of the Care Bears. I don't know which one he is, but one of them something. But he cast me and directed me in Berserk, the very first show he did my first job. So he and he's known me forever. And I just called him up and I was like, I need help. And I was like, this is the situation, this is the character, because I am a very, she can never sound out of control. And for me, to especially be like in my lower end, and if I start to run out of air, it can start to sound like it's pushing, right? So I was like, but she can never sound out of control. She said powerful and direct, and like she's in control, but like she can never sound out of control at all. And so I was like, you know me, like I don't know how to do this. And so he actually said that he had a similar role, and he said that he used a pen. He used a pen, and he would use the pen, and he would hold it in front of him, and he would send his entire performance through the end of the pen. So everything he was doing had to funnel down and come out the very, very end of that pen. He said if that's hard, use the pencil. He was like the pencil tip. And so I came in my next 2 sessions, and what I did was over the course of the series, I was able to wean myself away from the pen till I could get Satsuki without having to hold
That's
it.
pretty cool, though. It kind of helped you focus your performance into that, and that's really cool. That's really nice.
Eventually, I didn't need the actual pen.
Yeah.
But there were days where I'd be like, no, I'm sorry. And if I was struggling with something, I would still grab the pen and use it later. Be like, okay, I got it, and set the pen back down.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Sometimes for Ryuko, I would just be really angry during the day, and then just focus all my anger into my performance.
You felt like a list out.
Yes.
Okay,
I was like, I feel better.
Thanks for paying me for therapy.
Exactly. Other questions?
So how long between you, assuming you get the scripts first?
No.
Yeah.
No. No, we walk in and it shows up on screen.
Yeah. We don't even get a physical script.
What was your first reaction to seeing it?
Well, I will say for this one particularly, because it was already aired.
It was already
airing. I didn't have a chance to watch it in advance in the
So
original.
you did see it?
Yeah.
So I watched.
The director suggested it
Yeah.
highly.
Especially for my character, who was like, you should, because what's happening in episode 1 is what's happening in episode 16 is already happening in episode 1 for my character, just no one knows, but it's why I'm being doing what I'm doing. So he was like, you need to watch the series before you watch it. But I actually love that. I was with bleary-eyed watching it 2 in the morning and stuff. But normally you don't even get to see the. Well,
Yeah,
now I feel like it's closer. Sometimes they're out.
Yeah.
A lot of the times they are.
If you have time to actually watch it.
Right.
If you have time, exactly. And I watched Kill and Kill first just specifically because Alex was like, David, watch it, before we get into the session. But then I also had the exact opposite where I had a director be like, I don't want anything influencing you. I want you to work with me on this one. So come in and we'll work together. Don't watch it.
Yeah, there's some that you want to watch. So there's some that you want to have your character unfold.
Yeah.
Like you're unfolding with the character because they don't know the information either until they know the information. But then some characters, you already know all the information.
Yeah.
I think Alex basically didn't want to explain everything to me, so he was like, watch it. But yeah, normally you don't know. That's why you have to be such an amazing actor. You gotta step right in and say, keep up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just like we are.
Yeah, this is the act.
Oh, thanks.
Now, every time I hear your voice in another character, it's like, oh my God, that's Jin. Oh my God, that's Jin.
Brother.
I was just surprised at, at all of the franchises that your voice pops up in, along with like voice actors for Rock and Taker.
Yeah.
And it was just such a unique personality and performance that, I just picture you as Jin first before any other character.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you know what? Did you sign that petition, by the way?
No, I'm not aware.
Okay, so real quick, I'll get on my stool and talk about this. But they're talking about pedestal, right? Soapbox. I'm on my soapbox. So Axis is this is the last video game. I've been voicing Jin Kisaragi now for 8 years. And they are talking, or have said that they're not going to dub the last game.
What?
Yeah, that's what we all said. So there's a change.org petition. Go to my Facebook. It's facebook.com/DavidVincentVA, one word, for voice actor. And on my wall, you will see a link to that petition. Please go and sign that petition. I think we've got like 3,500 signatures so far. And to petition Axis to rethink their decision not to dub it. And actually, we're making some headway because I think that we're changing their mind. So, and share it with all your friends, please, who are Blaze Blue fans, because I think we're making a difference and starting to get them to reconsider. But yeah, I mean, honestly, Jin and the Blaze Blue franchise for me has just been awesome. I love how, really young years, but batshit crazy he is, and how he freaks out, whenever Rock and the Blood Edge is in his presence, and the weird dichotomy. Brother, so good to see you. Now I get to kill you. That type of stuff is just a blast. He's a great character, so thanks, man.
Seen the series, or if you haven't, spoilers for people, you haven't seen it, cover your ears.
Good.
But what did you think of the ending? Did it make you cry at all?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. I honestly, I watched it for the
about
first
it makes me
time.
cry.
Yeah, I watched it for the first time. It was a soccer-con in Seattle. And it was a packed room. It was probably I don't know, were you there?
No.
Okay, so it was probably 400 to 500 people packed in this room, and literally the energy in the room after watching that last episode was just palpable. It was incredible. So I mean, I was literally, and I hadn't seen it yet, and I was in there going, I knew what was going to happen, I mean, it's still just very powerful. Yeah, it was really powerful.
I mean, there was a couple of moments that when I was watching the original Japanese, I cried. I was like, oh my gosh, waiting to record that, and I was like, oh my god, is this a session with that?
Yeah.
And then so there were a couple of moments in the series like that for me that even thinking about it.
That episode where,
Yeah, that was heartbreaking. Well, not only because of just the actual, what was going on, and because they had formed this awesome relationship throughout the series, but I think at that point we didn't know if we were dubbing the OVA yet, so I thought that was the end. And I had gone through so much playing. We all had gone through so much recording for Kill la Kill, and for me, Kill la Kill still to this day does so much for me. It's part of why I've been doing so many conventions. I'm still doing conventions, doing these Kill la Kill panels and everything. But I thought it was the end, the end of everything, and it was just sad to let it go, and something that did so much for me, and that opportunity.
It's funny. There are certain shows, like every show is awesome and every character is awesome, and it's amazing to work in this industry. But there are some shows that there's something that's really special about that show. There's something really special about what you as the artist have to get to make the performance happen, the challenge or the whatever you're going through, or how it's growing you. And then also plus the time in your life that show got recorded. And sometimes there's this triple. Then when all those three things align up, then it's that becomes something that's just it's just always going to be a touchstone in your life, you know? And I feel like Kill la Kill really was that for me in all those ways. Like even still, we talk about it, and I just remember everything about where my life was when we started that show and where it was when we ended that show, and just the enormous changes that happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, let me see if we have we'll come back just so someone doesn't have a question yet. Yes, sir.
What was your favorite part of the series, and then what was your favorite part that you voiced? Like, what part did you like the most that you voiced?
I love Mendez.
It's Takarada.
Takarada. I love him. I love that character. I don't understand why he turns into a crab. Still to this day, I don't understand why he turns into a crab.
It's Kill la Kill.
Because it's Kill la Kill. I love that character. I love his design. I love the whole. That whole section just like delights me to no end. And my favorite part to record was what I like to call a reconciliation scene. Like on the boat. You know, where like you're like yelling at me, and I was like, all right. Yeah, let's do it. I guess I didn't have to do it the way I did it, but I did. And then Val, you would like punch me, and then they all jumped in, and then it's like, oh my god, we have to get him on the side. I love that scene.
For me, overall, I just really like, I'm like huge in, friendship gets me a lot in the series, and I really love kind of Mako and Ryuko's sort of unconventional, like opposites attract friendship. I think they're super sweet, and so a lot of the scenes they have together, especially like episode 7, Fight Club, that's one of my favorite
I
episodes. really like that first fight scene with Satsuki and Ryuko. I think that's when I was, I'd been hearing Carrie as Satsuki because I was one of the last to record those first few episodes.
I was the first. I didn't hear anyone the entire time I was recording.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anyone.
Yeah, and I thought, having watched the Japanese beforehand, I was like, oh man, because I didn't know you at the time, and I was like, whoever's playing Satsuki is like perfect, like this is awesome. And for me, I was still trying to get over like a lot of self-confidence issues, because like Carrie, I thought, because this was like one of my first big things, and I was still so new at the time, I thought I was gonna get recast. Like, I was like, there's no way they're gonna waste their time with me, because sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm doing because I'm still so new. But at episode 3, I think that's when I started getting like a lot more positive feedback. So I was like more comfortable at that point, I think. I was still getting my self-confidence up at that episode, but it felt really good, like hearing stuff and actually being proud of it finally.
Yeah.
Because those sessions were
But
so
also,
long.
I feel like now when I talk to people in the cast, I feel like everyone felt that way at the beginning of that show. And part of it, yeah, everyone's like, we're gonna get fired, and I think part of that was just because like Alex, the writer and director, is like so passionate about the show, like loves the show, and either way, manifesting, she loved the show, like, and everyone was a lot of pressure. Everyone wanted to do a good job. We all knew it was something special, and so I think they were always like, and so I also think that everyone was like really super specific. You know what I mean? Like every take had to be, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, we were just working so hard, and you start to be like, maybe I'm just like totally not nailing this. You know what I mean? But then by the third episode, I think we all started to be like, all right, we're into it now.
Well, I honestly thought because it was because I actually have been recast on a show, and it wasn't because I did a bad performance, it's just because unfortunately my voice sounded identical to whoever the lead was. And so when I went into
You sound so much alike, so I can understand
it's crazy.
Yeah.
how you'd be scared.
I was ready to go. I was better. But I was convinced because we did the first 4 episodes, and then there was like a 4-month hiatus where we didn't go and record again. And so I had walked out of, and I've been voiced for a long time, but I was just like, I don't think I'm coming back for that one. But there was a 4-month hiatus, and so for the entire hiatus, I was just like, I don't think that I'm going to hear back from them on this one. And then they called me to come in and start recording episode 5, and I was like, guess I didn't get fired, all right. So yeah.
There is something about the second, in any given show, this is about the second episode, right? Like, the second session, right? You're like, okay, well, I guess I'm not fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, at the first session, it's still not necessarily, or
Still don't get
but they call you
comfortable.
back again, and you're like, okay, now I got this.
No, I didn't feel comfortable until like the 5th.
I did a series like 10 years ago. I did a series called Gunsword, and I had recorded the first 4 episodes And then I came back to start recording episode 5, and Liam O'Brien was directing, and he goes, "Congratulations, you're actually the part now." I thought I had it all along. So.
But yeah, it doesn't change. All right, yes, sir, in the front.
So, you guys are always,
Oh. All right.
so you guys are always commenting about getting.
Oh, actually, I'm so sorry. I actually think I.
We'll go ahead with it.
Yeah.
If you want to, Mr. Fleet, would you please think about Bruce Willis?
I could do Bruce Willis. Yippee-ki-yay, mother. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So you guys are always commenting about getting worried about getting fired from your position. Is that really common occurrence?
I don't know how common it is, but it does happen. And here's the thing, it can happen for a million reasons. It can be, yeah, you did a bad job, or it could be, well, you're just not the right fit. You know, it's nothing against you personally, you're a great actor, but unfortunately you're just not the right fit for this character. It could be...
Like you were saying before, how everyone fits together.
Exactly, it could be how, it's like putting a puzzle together, and if you could be a great puzzle piece, but you're just not fitting that puzzle. So it just, there's a
It could be that
million
like the
reasons
director
why.
wants, that one person wants you, and the director's like, I want this, and
Yep.
like who ends up winning in the, you know what I mean? The worst thing you want to do is get a job where like the people in the room, like there was like some sort of mommy-daddy fight that happened at a company level, and like
Yeah.
you won the role, but like lost the person in the room with you, and so like you're just miserable the whole time.
Yeah.
Because like you're not, you know you're not the one that they wanted, and they make it clear to you every 3 takes. Have to get it up clear. Shut up. No, but I also think that there is just something about the fact that like most people like get a job and then they just like work at that job for like maybe a long time until they leave or something happens with the company or like they really mess up. And then like as an actor, like you get a job and you're gonna 100% lose that job. Every job you get, you're gonna lose because it's gonna end.
Yeah.
You know, the project's gonna end.
Yeah.
You know, so there is always this like, what's tonight? You know,
Yeah.
you know, you kind of just go like, I remember early on in my career being like, meeting people in New York who had like houses and stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, how do you know you can pay your mortgage?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, I worked before, I just trust them to work again. And I was like, all right,
There it is.
that's my new motto. You know, I don't, you know, you have to remind yourself after that though. Because there's sometimes where like all of a sudden, all of your jobs are left at the
Yes,
same time. You're like,
yes,
oh,
it's the worst.
I am seriously 100% super unemployed right now.
Yeah.
And I really hope like,
And the worst is usually, with you on that, sister, because sometimes, like, and it always happens to me, like, right at Christmas. And I'm like, literally, and it's December, and you know that, like, nothing's going on, and so you're like, oh, God.
December's gonna be quiet.
Yeah, I've got nothing, you know, and it happens all the time. You have to trust that you're going to work again.
Yeah.
And I feel like the fear of getting recast after the first session is kind of usually there because it takes a little bit for the director and the client to like figure out the character themselves while you're also figuring out the character. So you could do a line, do the best read, or maybe you're unsure of it, you know, whichever it is, depending on the character of the line. And the client and the director will sit there and talk. They'll be arguing, they'll just be like discussing some other things, like things that they want to, you know, perfect within the character of the performance that you're doing. And it'll be like 10, 15 minutes sometimes. So you're just sitting there, left alone, to like stew with these thoughts of whether or not they liked it. And sometimes they could just be talking about lunch, what they want for lunch. And you don't know because you can't hear, you know?
Or they're just talking about the cuss. Like a lot of times I've been on the other side of that class, and a lot of times, especially what you're saying in the beginning, they're really talking about like, because you're setting the tone and you're setting what will be the reference for the rest of the series, they really are discussing in a fine manner, like, the concept of the character. They're like, well, is this moving a little too much towards this direction? Do we want to keep, you know what I mean? So they really are at the beginning trying to like zero in on what the core of that's going to be, you know? So a lot of times that, it's not, you exit, like you can do the direction and execute the line, but then they could, once they hear it, question whether or not that's the execution they want. You know what I mean? Because they don't know until they hear it. You know what I mean? they don't know until they see it together. Yes, it's working, no, it's not working, you know, and it's not about whether or not we executed it, it's about whether or not the execution was the right idea. You know what I mean? There's so many, it's a creative process, like everybody's in the pot together mixing it around.
Yeah.
But we're not like paranoid we're gonna lose every job. Just this one, just this
Yeah.
one. Just all of us.
Just a little-
Also the Japanese pronunciations on the show. Oh my god, this is
Yeah.
Sanagea, Sanagea, Sanagea.
Senkets. Senkets? Senkets. I don't hear the difference.
Ryuko.
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 Onology Academy. Monsanto.
Osaka. Osaka.
Because it was challenging, like I had one time where like my brain was frying. Because the challenge for me, and I didn't realize that everyone was struggling with Sanageyama. I never realized that everybody else was having the same pain about that character. But what happens is that because the Japanese inflection is like the second syllable, and then you're supposed to flatten it. But if they put it at the end of a sentence in English, if we're saying like, I'll be like, hey, David, David, we automatically go up in inflection. But
Yeah.
none of it's David, 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 hey, David. Like you can't bring down the tone and then raise the, you know what I mean?
No, I had
I was like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? I
Yeah.
understand the concept, but every time it just flies out of my mouth and goes to the other thing, I don't know what's happening, and he was absolutely getting frustrated. I was like, I can't
Yeah.
get that. I can't do your direction, get his attention, and come down and talk it.
Yeah.
I literally can't make, I was like, do it for me, and then he started to try to do it, and then he understood
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they rewrite the line.
Yeah.
If they could, for me, they would just put it earlier in the thing. They'd be like, save us all the trouble, move the word. And then sometimes he'd be like,
We can't change the line on this one, Carrie.
he would like warn me as we're going into it. 'Cause
I
it's
had
challenging.
a lot of them where Senkets, his name would be at the end of sentences, and the client wanted me to inflect up on the kets, but then there'd be they wanted me to inflect down, but then it'd be like, hey, are you ready, Senkets? So you have to go up for a
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
but she's like, no, that's not how you pronounce it, and we're like, but we can't go down on a question. That's not how questions work. That's not how English works, and she just didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's, her native language is Japanese. So she was like, no, but this is how it works. This is how it's said. And we're like, that's not how we work,
You have
though.
like a thing that marks a sentence somewhere else. You have like a voice that tells the sentence. Yeah, I think like, but after I said that to Alex and I made him do it, I think like that started to settle in.
Yeah.
And then he, like, because I remember
He would fight
he
for
was
it
like,
sometimes.
Here in the booth, and then he'd be like, or ask him. He's like, okay, send. Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah, I would just love his expression. He'd be like,
yeah, like 6 feet tall.
so arguing with this little Japanese woman.
Oh my
Yeah, so funny.
Oh my god.
The same
and it was like episode 2, and people were like, what is it? Look at what they were like making all these same comments, you know, and they were like, no, we're not. And they ended up deciding they were supposed to be on the block for like an hour to watch like the first 4 episodes, right? And they ended up deciding that like as a group they're like, no, let's move on, let's move on, let's move on. I was so upset about it. Like, just let me do 4, let's get to 4.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't my kind of show when I initially started watching it, but I had decided to watch it because I was like, this show's probably going to get dubbed, so just in case, I should research it, you know, see what everybody's talking about. So I decided to give it a chance, and I think within the first like 2-3 episodes, I was like, what the hell? Because I like slice of life kind of shows, or like, you know, funny shows. But for this one, I was like, this is so fan servicey, like I don't get it, but I couldn't stop watching at the same time because it's like this beautiful train wreck at the beginning, and then later on, kind of like everything's there for a reason. So even though there's a lot of like flashy fan servicey scenes, like it makes fun of itself, and then like I said, everything's there for a reason. So you later find out like what all this means, and like some people are like, yeah, it's about like fascism and stuff like that, and I'm like, geez, that's super intense, you know?
And then you go back to the very, very first opening moment, and you're like, of course it's about that. It's talking about that. The very, like, the very, very first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably get asked this a lot, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What was your hardest line to record? The hardest line you had trouble with?
By far, Seni So Sheets. I honestly said Seni So Sheets 1,000 times because I could not pronounce it exactly how Hiroe and Alex wanted it. And we recorded it multiple like, sessions as well. We kept on coming back to it. Also, there was a scene. The revisits, yes.
Over, and then in a session, we have a pickup.
Yeah.
Last episode.
Yes.
We got back to
Yeah.
We did, but actually one time it really works. Though there's this scene with Ryuko and Senketsu, and it's towards the end of the we're sitting on that dock,
Yeah.
the loading dock or whatever, and we had revisited that probably over the course of 3 different sessions and had done multiple takes. And Alex had Erica redo it, me do it, Erica redo it, me do it, redo it. And then finally, we went back and we were just like, all right, we're good, everything, it's fine. And then Alex was like, David, at the end of the session, and he's like, let's just one more time. And we went back and did it one more time, and last time we did it, honestly, the magic take came out, the magic one came out, and the whole flipping scene made sense for the first time. I was amazed. So, yeah.
Which is funny because you think like the hard scenes would be like the vocally stressful scenes and stuff like that. But that one was just super chill, but the relationship had to be right, you know, to make that scene work. And it did. Like Alex was super proud of it, and he told me my next session that they went back with you and finally made it work.
Yeah, and whatever it was, the last take, finally, the whole scene clicked. And it was I've never experienced that before, and I've been recording a long time. That was the first time that had ever happened, where I'd actually seen a scene come together after trying over the course of multiple sessions.
This is how serious Alex was about this project.
Yeah, and then finally, it was the magic one just came out.
It's nice to work with a writer-director who like loves.
Yeah.
He,
For sure.
like,
He was
Alex
really
loves
passionate about
this
the
show.
project.
And everyone loved it, so it was so nice. You had space to be able to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
For
But it also hurts when you know you've been in to nail something.
Yeah.
But you just didn't have time, you know?
For me, I think if you were at one of the panels earlier this weekend, I think I mentioned like a screamy line that was just hard in general overall for every project that I worked on. But another one that was actually hard for me was the Junkets Ryuko stuff, the evil stuff, because I've never played like a villain before. So, and then they wanted me to kind of like sound like another character in the series, but I didn't actually know how that character sounded totally, and they wouldn't go back and really play too much for me, so I couldn't really get a feel for it. But the laughter, I had to do like one little like psychotic laugh, and I just could not do it, so they ended up franken-taking. So they spliced one part of a laugh with another part of a laugh that they thought was really good after I did it like 10 million times, and so that little like laugh, well, she's like I forget what she's doing, she's like spinning somebody around, I think. And so that's a combined laugh. But it's so seamless. Like the engineer did such a good job that it just sounds like it's totally natural.
Yeah. Yes.
The woman who sold out her friend. Because I was very uncomfortable when I saw Sanket's just that weird gray type of thing, so I kind of gave up on it. But
Yeah.
I gave it another shot. I love the show. My question is for all, of course, obviously all three of you. What part of your character, like, impacted you the most? Like, what did it get you on an emotional level, an anger level? What made you, like, what, like, in real life? Like,
You know, I think the thing for me, like the thing that I had the biggest, I'm just gonna see if I interpreted your question properly. Yeah, so the thing for me is that like I loved her decisiveness. Like she had a lot, like, you know, you can have your opinions about how she handled it, but she did have a lot of leadership, a lot of vision, a lot of decisiveness. Like she was very focused on her vision, and I really feel like in order, like having to like get inside of that, I really do feel like that has affected me and changed me as a person. Like I have a lot more of a sense of leadership in situations and scenarios. Like I feel like I took that part of her. Yeah.
Just overall, I feel like I kind of grew with Ryuko as the series went, and I can actually hear it. Like, I don't know if anyone, I think other people have told me that, you know, they hear my progression throughout the series, but listening to like going back and listening to the first episode compared to the last episode, like, I'm really proud of that because I can hear the growth that I had with Ryuko, and I feel like there hasn't been too many other characters that have done, because I'm a little bit more experienced now, you don't hear as gradual of a growth as it was for Kill la Kill. But as far as like taking away stuff, or like stuff that I kind of related to her with, I definitely understand getting so frustrated to the point where like you just get so angry, or like you want to cry, and you know you're sticking up for your friends and stuff like that. You kind of like take, but near the end you kind of take she takes Senket's and like everybody else's feelings over her own. And I feel like that really hit me in a hard spot sometimes, and I found myself like actually crying while recording some of that stuff. Although sometimes I would actually cry, and Alex would be like, "Do it again, I didn't believe it." I don't know how much more I can make you believe this. I'm like really crying. He's a punk.
Alex. I love that guy. Alright, we have 7 minutes. Yeah, on the end.
So, just a quick, this is going to be a little longer question, so just follow along with me for a second.
Okay,
So there are those actors and voice actors who get those perfect roles, and there are those actors that just play themselves. John Connery, John Wayne, Adam Sandler, they're just playing different variations of themselves.
Sure.
If you could voice act as someone that you think would be that perfect fit, who would it be? That just variation of yourself or your character.
Wait, what?
Basically, if you could
Like
voice
what
act
character do you feel like is the most you that you could just seamlessly voice?
Yeah.
You answer, and then they go.
I'm trying to think. I can't. Well, I'm just going to base it off what other people have said, what I act like. So a lot of people have compared me to Daria. Or like, if anybody watched Bobby's World way back when, the girl that had a crush on him, Jackie. Because I'm very just like kind of really low-key, low energy, very blunt, kind of sarcastic sometimes. So characters like that, I think generally are probably just what I am normally.
Maybe Goofy. No, you know, I don't know. A character that I would base that would be close to my personality and to who I am.
Adorable. I feel
Mr.
like. Actually, the character who actually is just really me is probably Lux from League of Legends, because like that they didn't have anything to go on. They're like, "Hey, here's our idea. We just want someone like kind of like friendly and positive." And I was like, "Oh my god, hey, blah blah blah." They were like, "Can you like, yeah, you know, like just like you, like how you're talking to us right now, just like go in and do that." And I was like, "All right." And that was Lux.
She is my alter ego. Yes,
every time I laughed in that building, people freaked out.
Like you would see like terror in their eyes, like jump. It was startling for me. I was like, I'm starting to feel a little bad.
I used to main Lux, and I actually never made the connection until you started telling the story.
You never told me that.
Yeah, I used to main her.
No, you talked about me a bunch of times.
I told you I played her before.
You said you played her before. You didn't say you made her.
That's true, yeah.
Secrets and lies. Now I would like call your voicemail and just laugh at it. No, no. Now you see why she kept that from me. I actually was doing my laundry and I was talking to my neighbor and he was like, oh, what are you doing? He's an edit video editor. And I was like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, you heard to get a new job. I'm like, fun. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm doing this thing. I was editing these. It's just like professional. I was like, for a game company. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, oh, it's this company and then like do professional gaming and I filmed the things and then I was like, oh, but I don't know, like what game? And he was like, oh, it's like for a video game. Like he just did not like, he's like, oh, for a video game. We're trying to sing in Staples and I was like, yeah, let's game. And he was like, oh, it's called League of Legends. I was like, yeah, I'm Lux. And he was like, you know, I play Lux. You play Lux? And I was like, no, I am Lux. And then like the next two times I saw him, he was driving down the street and he's like, Lux! And yelling at me. Yeah.
But he told me he made her right away.
Like keeping it from me for a long time. Anyway, whoa! This panel has been off the rails. I did this
It's
to us.
always your fault.
I did this to us. Okay, and then like the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
Who's got a good last? Who thinks they have the best last question? Like you think you have the best last? Oh, he's full of doubt. Look at this kid.
Yeah.
He is so full of you. He like won't put his hand down. He's like, whoa, melting inside. Now we have to know your question.
What are your thoughts on Lady Satsuki's eyebrows?
I could mop my floor with those.
I think a strong brow is a very respectable and trustworthy look.
Did you see the gift that someone made where they're like, all right, that was, okay, 1 minute. Someone have a 1-minute question?
Was there, okay, this is a non-drug related question.
Well, we'll see.
So, okay, did you ever have a time where you wanted to steal or potentially sing another line because it was so much fun and you wanted to do it in the show?
Oh, in Killer Kill specifically, or?
Any show?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I do other people's lines in the booth all the time. Yeah.
Anything in there.
I use a lot of outtakes where I steal their line and I like spam them back. Yeah.
I can't think of anything in particular because I don't know, sometimes it just, you hear something and you're like, that was so fun, I want to say it. Like you just have to, but I do that in regular
Yeah.
conversation. I have to be really careful because sometimes someone says something in a way, but I'll be like, and I just immediately mimic them. And sometimes they like take it, they think it's an offense. So I used to just, they would do it and I'd be like, they'd be like, oh yeah, no. And I'd be like, oh yeah, no. And I kind of started like understanding that I had to like change it a little bit so it didn't come off like a
emailing me, and she hadn't recorded that part yet.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, what?
There's a moment where her character like reaches through the frame and like touches my character, and I was like, get your fingers off my face. And she was like, what? I'm like, hey, fingers tingling? And she's like, what? Like, so I thought she had recorded, so I got it. And so then like 2 weeks later, she went in, and then I got a text being like, oh, I get it now. And I guess I just must do that so often to her that like she like filed it there for when it happened. Oh, how to be a jerk to your friends. That was really the subtext of this cover. Kill panel. How to be a jerk to your friends. Started with that. It's just good. Anyway, well I hope you guys had an awesome weekend.
We have autographs at 1, if you can get in the line, I guess.
Yeah, we have autographs at 1, so come say hello, because then we're